people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to KGX to the Z TV. Here with a little garage talk, as you can see. Match week 2 reaction. Chelsea Wolves, right? Wolves 2, Chelsea 6. Yes, that's right. 6 away to Wolves after losing 2-0 to City on the opening weekend, and then a somewhat lackluster performance, but a win nonetheless. 2-0 win versus Servette in the Conference League playoffs, first leg. So today, overall thoughts. Very happy with some performances, which we'll get to. Very happy with the way that the game transpired and the way that our manager Maresca kind of tweaked things a little bit, things here and there. That was very nice to see that. One, that he's flexible enough to do that, and he's not so set in his ways, which was kind of sold to us preseason by a lot of fans that knew more about him than I did. Right? They really stressed how Leicester lost their lead in the championship. A lot of it was down to them playing so stringent, so strict, and so pattern oriented that teams figured them out, right? And that he didn't really have a plan B and things like that. So, which could be true. We'll see how the season plays out. But it was nice to see that he not only talks about what he sees our weaknesses are, and where we need to improve, but he also can see that quickly within the framework of a match. Even versus City, he made a couple tweaks to kind of make us a little bit more compact, right? To make us a little bit more secure. But the difference was just quality, time in the system. All credit due to the City. You saw what they did today to Ipswich, 4-1. I think 3 goals in like 15 minutes after they went behind. Machine, right? So if that's the end game, or if that's the goal, then it's good to see that. Just like Pep, he has the ability, obviously not to Pep's level, but he has the ability to recognize where maybe his initial game plan went wrong, or to just react to how the match is going and how everything's played out. So it was nice to see that. That was an encouraging sign. It was nice to see the second half performance in terms of just ruthlessness, which we'll get into. But it was nice. There were a lot of positives to take away, not only from individual performances, but also just as a collective, as a team. So let's take you back to the beginning, right, in terms of the lineup. So the lineup comes out, or news comes out, Lavia's not in the squad. He's got a little niggle. Rumor is hamstring, don't know how long. People are saying maybe to the end of the international break, right? So he comes back in international break, he's fine. But one thing that I do like about Maresca and this sort of coaching staff, and I'll give them all credit, is they seem to be cognizant already of workload, of players coming back from injuries, right? You haven't seen players that have been out for long-term injuries like Fofana, like Nkuku, like even to a certain extent, you could say Colwell, who was out, missed not big chunks, but chunks of last season, especially with like foot injuries late on and things like that. So it's nice to see that they were cognizant of that, right? So back four and the keeper remained unchanged, right? Sanchez, Cucurella left center back, Colwell, right center back, Fofana, right back, Gusto. Midfield, because of no Lavia, you only had Enzo and Caicedo in there, so Enzo, in theory, would drop a little bit deeper. Right wing, you had Madueke coming in, which was a change. Palmer in the 10, and then a lot of folks were surprised at the inclusion of Mudryk out wide left. But like I mentioned before, the manager had made references to managing workloads and saying that Neto probably wasn't ready to go 60, 90, or something to that extent. So rest in Neto, plus Neto going back home, it could be a lot for a player early in the season. So he took the risk-averse approach, which no problem with that, even though we know Mudryk, and we'll talk about him, is not working out. No beating around it. It's just not working out. Physically, he's there. He's fantastic physically. it's just something that happens when he gets into the final third, and it just all goes kaput. But regardless of that, then Jackson up top. So a lot of the same players that we had in the Man City side, but obviously the two wingers being different, right? Nani didn't get off the bench, Mudryk didn't get off the bench, but because of Neto not being fit, Sterling not being with the first team, and so forth, and with no no Lavia, who you would have thought would have played, considering he came on late 5 minutes versus Servette, so that was the lineup, and things got off to a good start, right? We our fastest goal, Nico Jackson at the back post. We get a corner, Palmer whips it in. I think it's Fofana gets ahead, flicks it on. Nico Jackson at the back post, 1-0 within 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. So just really, 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 just positive start, right? Like, all right, good. It's so much easier for us when we're playing with the lead, even though because we're going to give up chances, we're going to give up shots, which we'll talk about regardless. But we go up 1-0, and then just like we did all of last year, we quickly fall into a little shell, and then we allow Wolves to get some good opportunities going forward, which gets the crowd energized. And then next thing you know, Caicedo makes a misplaced pass. He's beating Nori's beating Enzo instead of taking the foul because he doesn't want to get a yellow early in the match. Enzo lets him go through, and then it ultimately ends up to Cunha, who slots it home, and it's 1-1 just like that. So concentration after it. Mariska talked about being concentrated after we score a goal. And after we give up a goal, to not give up the second goal and the third goal and things like that, like we did in the preseason. So already you're just like, all right, mentality, concentration, effort, concentration lacking. All right, we move, right. Not too long after that, we Wolves are starting to get things going. A couple more shots. Sanchez, ball goes out for a goal kick. Sanchez rolls it in, long kick. Jackson flicks it on. Palmer, first time, chips the keeper from 10 yards outside the box. 2-1, just like that. Two passes. Boom, boom, boom. Ball in the back of the net. It was incredibly heads-up play by Sanchez to spot it. Even though we know we're supposed to be really building from the back, but he saw the opportunity, and not only that, he executed it with a really, really nice pass. Credit to Sanchez for that pass. Credit to Jackson for making the run. He saw that he was with a defender, with a center back that he could beat, and he got across him. It might have been Gomes, or it definitely wasn't Mosquera. We'll talk about Mosquera's tackle later, but he got across. Great job for Cole Palmer making the second run, and then just an incredible finish, right? Jose Sa off his line like a lot of keepers would in that situation. Incredible first-time finish by Palmer. Not the first time that we've seen it. And knock on wood, hopefully it won't be the last time. So 2-1, and we're like, all right, it's we're looking very dangerous. Anytime we go forward, we look like we could score. And then same old happens. We let Wolves get back into the game. Wolves get a set piece, and our deficiencies in defending set pieces continues, right? And it's just a team-wide effort, right? It's poor setup, right? We've got guys who shouldn't be marking guys. We've got a lack of just general height in the team anyways, right? You look at our midfield, when we have Caicedo, Enzo, and Lavia, neither one of them is good in the air, right? Neither one of them is going to win headers. So that means that's three players in the two, at least two of them in the box. Maybe you put Enzo like on the short corner. Two guys that can't hit the ball, right? And aren't physical, aren't strong. Caicedo's strong in a tackle, but that's just usually just will and effort and a little bit of madness, right? But you got that. Cucurella's not very good in the air. Gusto's not very good in the air, so that really leaves Colwell, Jackson, and who's our other center back? Fofana, and then Sanchez to maybe come out and collect it. And what do? They get a corner, and there's a guy right in front of goal, heads it home, 2-2. We're like, all right, it's 2-2. it's still relative. There's still some time left in the first half. We've got we've got opportunities. Like I said, we've looked dangerous going forward. Madueke at that point was running. I know he absolutely ragged and should have had him sent off in the first half. Right, I know he gets a rightful yellow, but he bear hugs Madueke later in the first half, and then early in the second half, he trips him. Like, referee was appalling today. Just Caicedo took a studs up challenge from Mosquera, and he had to really think about it to even give it a yellow, which it should have been a red. We should have went to VAR and been a red. So even though we won 6-2, that dude, like, there were a lot of moments where he lost the plot and he needed to just reel shit back in, and he wasn't capable of doing it. Not surprising, right? Best league in the world in terms of competition, worst refs in the world. It's just a fact. So 2-2 at halftime, and we're like, shit, it's going to be a basketball. It's going to be a basketball score, right? Track meet. We've got athletes. They've got athletes. Um, they've got a center forward. Who was their center forward? Strand Larson, who was an absolute just monster, like 6'4", not very agile, but I mean, our two center backs aren't very physical, and that's the one. They're quick. They're um, they're decent. Colwell's not as good as Fafana in 1v1 defending, but they're more of interceptors and things like that, as opposed to being like physical, and they don't let guys leaning on them, right? So he was definitely a handful. But second half we come out, and right from the start it's just something. Whatever Maresca said at halftime was, maybe it was get the ball down the right hand side, let Madueke try to isolate him 1v1. Right, you've got Palmer kind of in that right channel, like half channel, and then you've got Madueke getting it wide where he can use Palmer as a decoy, so he can pretty much guarantee that he gets 1v1, and he just went off. Just goal, then another goal, and then another goal, and it was just he absolutely killed the match. And it was nice and refreshing because we had seen glimpses of that in preseason where he would just be super direct, and he was starting to use his right foot a little bit more and go down the line instead of always cutting back. And then once he's not there. It's only 2 games, so we can't get too carried away. But once wingers, once they figure out or develop that part of their game where they can go both ways, pause. Yo, that gets into scary hours, because one, fullbacks these days, their primary goal is not really even to defend anymore, right? It's to be either inverted or provide an overlap and be an offensive threat, right? You think of all the good fullbacks, most folks immediately think of just attacking fullbacks, or people like Trent, who's more on the attacking side. So yeah, but I mean, Madueke just went off, right foot for 2 of them, and then left foot. One of them took a little deflection, but just absolutely killed it. And Caicedo and Enzo, who had absolute shockers in the first half, they got their understanding right and their distances right, and were just on it. Especially Enzo. When he plays like that, that's the frustration with him is, he's capable of that, but at the same time you also have to realize that he's still only 22, 23, so he's not going to give you those kind of second half performances, or like some of his good performances last year on a 8 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 times it's going to be 4, 5, 6, and it's for a player with his price tag, it's not good enough, but at the same time it's understandable considering how young he is and how inexperienced he is. Right, like everyone says World Cup winner Enzo, but they don't realize prior to that it was one season in Europe, and then maybe like 15 games before that. So it wasn't a lot of top flight experience at the club level. So, excuses aside, we all know Enzo's got to play better, whether it's going to be in that more attacking role like he was versus City, or it's going to be a little bit deeper and kind of more all action, box to box like he was today. But you credit to those two; they really got it together before Caicedo ultimately went off hurt. I think from the knock from the what should have been the red card on Mosquera. So hopefully he's recovered, because We Are Light. I was on the homie Jimmy Spliffs. Check his channel out. I was on his chat or his post match show today, and I was talking about, we need. I think we're light in midfield. We need one more holding midfielder like a Enzo. I'm not an Enzo, like a Lavia Caicedo cover, right? It's just because we're going to be playing a lot of matches. We're gonna have knocks, right? Caicedo was relatively um, injury free once he got up to fitness last year. His only concerns were really just his bookings and just the fear of him getting sent off. But with him, with Lavia missing time, like pretty much all of last year, and then Enzo missing time last year with his hernia, I think we're just one midfielder of that ilk short. One midfielder, and then if center backs go, one center back, and if you could get Osimhen at the right wages, absolutely. But if you can't and you're not willing to break, I wouldn't be willing to break the structure on him. So, but yeah, those two, and then ahead of that, for as good as Madueke was in his finishing, Palmer was just as good when it came to setting it up. He had 3 assists, all to the same player. I think the first time since like Harry Kane and Son, maybe like 3, 4, 5 years ago. So those two, I mean, Palmer looked like him, like the best part of himself tonight. But 4 GNA, which is crazy when you think about it, right? 33 last year. Still mad that he didn't get in the PFA Team of the Year. He should have. But yeah, those two were they were cooking today. And then shout out to Jackson. Jackson had a nice assist for Palmer, and then did all of the good things that you want from Jackson, right? He didn't have too many opportunities. He had a couple breakaways, 1v1s on the keeper, where one he was moving so fast and he couldn't get a shot off, which in my mind I'd already said if he scores this, it's a miracle. But just because it was that defender was with him, so credit to that defender. He made it uncomfortable for him, but yeah, his link up play, his touch was good today. His passing was good. He got the header, which was nice. Um, he was all the stuff that a lot of people don't see if they don't watch him week in week out like us Chelsea fans do. He was all of that, which what he's very good at on a normal basis, right? Like it's very uncommon for him to be bad at making the runs, his link up play and things like that. He'll have some off games definitely for sure, like a lot of young players do, and like all strikers pretty much do. But that part of his game is a lot better than people think. And then, but yeah, he was just really good with his pressing too. And then on the left hand side, Mudryk, man, played the first half, stunk it out in terms of when he was there. You could, almost like it became obvious that we were just trying to go down the right side exclusively. Part of it was how successful it was with Madueke, but also part of it, I think, too, is instinctively these dudes know that Misha just isn't of the level, right? From box to box, he is ridiculous, and every once in a while he will pull off something inside the box with some footwork. Physically, he's an animal, but mentally, he's just that key trait of just decision making. We've seen it so many times with so many wingers over the years, where they're just fantastic with the ball at their feet. They can beat their man, but when it's time to make cross? Is it the right cross? Is it on the ground? Is it a cutback? Are you drilling it right across the 6 yard box? Like just the final ball is just it's too much for him, and he either overthinks it or he's just that raw and that poor in decision making. So that was scary hours. But once he went off, Neto came on, and the last goal was just a thing of beauty, right? We just kind of play a little bit out of trouble on the left hand side, on our left hand side, and then I think it's who is it? Is it Kukurea that drops deep or some? No, it's Dewsbury Hall drops a little bit deep and wide, and then he plays a ball into like the half channel or the half space to Palmer, who controls it, has enough time to just control it, and then just pick out his pass of the strict. Neto is just off, and then you see on the back post, you see who was it on the right side? Maybe Madueke on the right side, who's going to the far post. And then it's João Felix just full sprint all the way to the front post. Neto cuts it back, perfectly weighted pass on the ball, finds the feet of João Felix, and I mean, all credit to João. He made that finish, which is not a very easy finish, look like that. Like that was the João Felix that excited fans when he moved from Benfica to Atletico, and you were like, oh man, Simeone, he's gonna have that grit, but he's gonna mix it with a little bit of João Felix and Griezmann to kind of, oh man, that was that was nice. João Felix was in his cameo today was very impressive. He worked hard. I remember him shielding a ball all the way on the right flank, which was crazy because he was kind of central and mostly on the left hand side. But yeah, credit to Zhao. He was very good when he came on, um, and so it was. I mean, all around, very very happy with the performance. Definitely some things to sort out with the defense. When Caicedo and Madueke, I'm sorry, when Caicedo and Enzo are the double pivot, and Madueke and Mudrik is out wide, that's just too. That whole line, that four, if you think about it, is just too not good enough defensively. Like Caicedo can, but Caicedo can't cover everything, and when he does, he gets rash, and that's when he gets pulled out of position, and he makes a bad tackle and things like that. Enzo doesn't have the legs for it. Mudrik doesn't have the the awareness or maybe even the in-game intelligence to find out who to mark, what run to go with, and all that stuff. And then Madueke on the other side just gets lapses of concentration, and sometimes he's just tired. But to Madueke's credit today, 90th minute he was down there defending. So definitely, in my mind, even though Palmer had 4 GNA, Madueke was definitely the man of the match because he was the one that effectively killed it for us. He just said, you know what, it's over. Wolves, I got this right hand side on lock. Atnori's already on a yellow. He can't do too much, but he wasn't doing too much before that, anyways. He had all the drama with the pre-match IG post and all that stuff, and credit to him because he talked his talk and then he walked the walk. So credit to him, credit to Palmer, credit to Jackson, everyone in the attacking trident apart from Mudrik got at least a goal or assist today. Credit to Enzo and Caicedo for that second half performance. They got it together. Credit to Cucurella was fairly solid today. Gusto was better today than he was in the last one, and then even the center backs weren't too bad, right? We gave up a set piece goal, and then we gave up the kind of the drag back a little bit to Cunha at the back post. So yeah, I mean they weren't too bad, but overall a pretty good performance. Now we just have to kind of take the vibes from that and carry it into Servette, and Maresca's got to kind of let them enjoy the moment, but at the same time kind of ground them a little bit and say, you know what, like it's just one match. Like once Monday hits, once Tuesday hits, no one's gonna remember that shit. The league moves on, everything moves on. So got to get everybody back focused Thursday, and then make sure that we do enough to qualify for the conference league proper. I'm laughing because that's where we find ourselves. That's the situation we have to deal with. So be it. It's up to us to make the most of it. So that being said, man, appreciate everybody stepping by. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Probably be back a little bit later on in the week. Maybe we'll do some mid transfer deadline day or final deadline day or week. Little roundup, and then maybe something live on transfer day, and then definitely something before Servette. So definitely be content coming out. Basically, is what I'm trying to say is so be around hopefully and check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.